Greetings, hi, hello. So, welcome to and/or welcome back to my YouTube page. I'm Fire Lotus the Witch, and today we're talking about books. Okay, so we're gonna go over for one. If you need a book to learn about the tarot, okay, I have a book for you. And if you have any other suggestions for books about tarot, let me know in the comments, please, because this is literally one of the only books that I have on tarot outside of the books that come with the tarot decks that I have. And then we're going to go over folk magic and some books that I have on folk magic, and the two main books that I think if you were going to want to go out and get some, these are going to be some. Okay, so there are going to be a couple of books that I'm going to mention in this, and I do have them over here that I'm going to show you. But I also just realized something. I don't think I have one book that would just be like, what's a good beginner book for witchcraft? Now, I do have a couple, but it depends on, and the reason this is important is because it depends on what type of witchcraft you're trying to get into or you're drawn to, because depending on the author, you're going to get multiple different things. So, to start off with, again, let me know in the comments if you know any other books that is great for tarot and learning them. This one right here, Understanding and the Use of Tarot, okay? Again, this is the only book that I have, but I love it because you can also put the card that you're discussing in it, right? Virtual learning, okay? Now, there is another book that I have, it's just really hard to get your hands on, which is the Silver Ravenwolf's complete, like, Witched Grimoire, and it goes from A to B in, like, multiple different things. Some of the authors I'm going to mention too, depending on who you ask, could be controversial, but you're going to come across controversial authors. That does not mean that what they have in their books is not teaching, okay? So, that one basically breaks everything down that you would need to know about tarot. And when it comes to tarot, I do read tarot cards. I do not offer them to other people, but I would honestly encourage you, instead of trying to learn tarot right off bat, get you an oracle deck, okay? Now, for all my folk practitioners who would like to learn how to use witchcraft like your ancestors, and this is also an actual real accent, okay? This is not some fake shit. When I talk about folk magic, for some reason my country accent comes out, and I have different dialects of it, all right? Obviously, Corey Thomas Hutchison's The Complete Book of North American Folk Magic, A Landscape of Magic and Mystery and Traditions. This goes over Appalachian Magic, Brujeria, Detroit Hoodoo, Florida Swamp Magic, French Canadian Sorcery, Irish Folk Magic, Italian American Magic, New England Cunningcraft, New Orleans Voodoo, Ozark Folk Magic, Pennsylvania Powwows, Slavic American Folk Magic, and Southern Conjure, which is what I practice. Obviously, if you don't want to go out and get this one and you just want to focus on North American Folk Magic, again, this book right here, A New World Witchery, A Trove of North American Folk Magic. This is like, they're both like college grade books. Anybody could understand them though, and they go over everything you would possibly need to know. Now, you're like, okay, what about specifically Appalachia? So glad you brought it up. Let's get into it and let's go over them. Also, thank each and everybody who has ever got a book off my Amazon wish list. Y'all are absolutely amazing, okay? I also wanted to start this out with, you do not have to go out and get all of these books all at once, okay? The books that you were seeing in this video are over like 10 to 15 years. Some of the most recent ones are about a 4 to 5 year span, okay? Trust me when I said witchcraft is my life. Every amount of excess money that I've ever had, especially when I was younger, I literally would invest it into more witchcraft. And at one point in time, I used to work at a new age spiritual shop. So if you did not think that I used that employee discount, we used to make a joke too, because every time I'd get paid, I'd just go basically right back to the cash register and just put it back in their pocket. But hey, I love it. All right. So we're going to start this off. There are going to be two of them that are kind of, they fit perfectly. This one right here is Southern Cunning. Do not mind the book. This is my first copy. Southern Cunning, Folkloric Witchcraft in the American South by Aaron Oborn. This in general is just kind of hit the look of southern cunning through his eyes. It's absolutely amazing. This is also where I learned bioregionalism at. And in general, if you're in Florida or Maryland, you're also going to have a special place for this book. The next one, I do not see a lot of people talk about it. And if you live in a very small town or a very rural area, this book is probably about to become your best friend, which is, it's by Browen Forbes. I hope I said that right. The Small Town Pagan Survival Guide, How to Thrive in Any Community. You might feel like an outsider, especially when you are still new to the pagan lifestyle, but don't let it get to you. There are others around you, just have to find them. And as I live in a very rural plot, I just recently learned, and I've been living out here for 7 years, I think. It was 6 years. I've learned that there are a lot of more pagans around here than I originally ever thought, okay? This right here is actually very interesting because the author, back in the days... Oh, that's cool. Back in the days before the interweb is the way that it is now, a lot of people wrote in to them, and this is what this book is. It's about all different types of people living in all different types of rural areas. It teaches you, I realize I've not been going over the table of contents. This one, popularity contest, making contact, the well-decorated broom closet, the discounted superstore altar. We're going to talk about that in another video. Minimum daily requirements, interworking, finding others of like-minded online, community building, problems like charity begin at home, and the expert speak, and then afterthoughts, recommended readings, resources, and index. This is an amazing book to have. It taught me a lot, all right? Now, so if we are going into the... we're going to say Appalachian folk magic, all right, then you're definitely going to start out with these 2 books, technically 3. And before I get into this, over the year, there has been some things said about certain authors. We're not talking about that, okay? We're talking about how these books helped us, okay? Backwoods Witchcraft, Conjure and Folk Magic from Appalachians by Jake Richards. This book right here literally started my journey into, not only did it start my journey into folk magic, but it helped me realize, oh shit, wait, I did grow up in the foothills of the Appalachians. This book, I always describe it, imagine if you get like randomly contacted by a distant relative you knew nothing of, and you go out there. This book is them walking you through, like, and going to all these locations. It is absolutely amazing, okay? Hands down, get the damn book. Well, Lotus, I've recently heard that Appalachian folk magic is closed. No, the fuck is not, okay? It's a folk practice. When you start to deep dive into what makes a folk practice, you'll understand that. Are there certain aspects that intertwine with other practices? Yes, 100%. Conjuration, hoodoo, not really voodoo depending on where you're at, but there's a lot that makes up the Appalachians, and there's a lot that makes up the magic that goes through there. His second book, this one I love because this is, there are multiple points in here where he breaks down, like, this is how you can use anthill dirt, this is how you can use this, how to break curses, and it's just a list. So this one, for the longest time, I carried it everywhere I went, and if you're a witch, let me know in the comments if you have the same problem where you carry all these books thinking you're constantly going to need them, and then you never really actually use them while you're out and about. And then the one day that you actually leave them at home is the day you need it. Yeah. But this one is Doctoring the Devil, a notebook of the Appalachian Conjure Man by Jake Richards. Okay. These 2 books, absolutely love them. Okay. The next one, okay, so in folk magic and specifically conjuration, they use parts of the Bible. Okay. And there have been a lot more people that have been rediscovering their roots and rediscovering Christian witchcraft. If you do not like the idea of singing palms, hums, all of that, this next book's not really going to be for you. This is Owens and Steele Classic Household Guide to Appalachian Folk Healing, a collection of old-time remedies, charms, and spells. An introduction and commentary by Jake Richards, and it is forwarded by Silver Raven Wolf. This book was originally, it was popular in the 19th century, and they kind of revived it. This is heavily, heavily associated with parts of the Bible. So, it's still a good book. But, yeah. Alright, let's put these over here. Hopefully, I do not fall through the floor from all these books being in here. Now, the next ones are going to be slightly different. So this one right here is just absolutely amazing, and I would suggest that if you were just now getting into it, this would be a great book from a folk practice aspect, but it's not even really folk. This right here is Wild Witchcraft, Folk Herbalism, Garden Magic, and Foraging from Spells, Rituals, and Remedies by Rebecca Byers. I love this book. Not only do I love the artwork in this book, but it teaches you that literally just go out and find the things you need. I am not talking about herbs that you are going to consume, okay? We do not randomly go outside and pick shit and stew it in a tea or stew unless you absolutely know for a fact it is not poisonous. And in the herbal community, there are a lot of herbs that will have a toxic sidekick, as in they almost look identical, and one is toxic and one is not, okay? So do not go do that, okay? And if you do, make sure you know how to forage, okay? This book right here, though, is absolutely amazing. It goes over the history of witchcraft and Western herbally, how to create and maintain your own herbal garden, recipes for tinctures, teas, salves, and other potions to use in rites and rituals, remedies for self-healing, foraging basics, ritual to celebrate the turning of the seasons, and much more. I love this book because if I were to start it out on this book versus like Wicca, my entire practice would look different, okay? Amazing book to have. Now, the next ones we're getting into go over the more conjurous aspect, but also still the folk. One of these books is what I would consider not a beginner book, okay? So as a beginner, I would not just jump into one of these books, okay? Now, if you like the conjure aspect of this, then these books are going to be completely up your alley, okay? Because they are mine. Absolutely love them. So there's technically two of these books. There are certain parts in the books that I would consider are advanced and not something a seedling or a witchling needs to go out and do, okay? So the first one is Consorting with Spirits, Your Guide to Working with Invisible Allies, Jason Miller. This is technically, in the entire concept of it, this is technically an advanced book because you're not really going to want to go consorting with spirits until you understand the energetic aspects and understand the proper protections, which, by the way, Jason Miller, if you have not checked them out, they have a reversal and protection book. They also have a financial prosperity magic book, which is fucking amazing. It's definitely a good book. It will definitely open your eyes to how to build relationships with these spirits and how to consort with them. Now, the next one, again, there are a couple advanced parts in here, which basically kind of go with consorting with spirits and conjuring the spirits. Also, if you're not already, try to start building a relationship with your land spirits. Lotus, I live in the bumfuck middle of the city. Your city has one. Actually, your city has multiple ones, okay? Consorting with spirits or building relationships with land spirits, it is not like working with a deity. It is not like working with Infernal, okay? They could literally take one look at you and tell you to fuck off. And that's it. There's no trying to convince them. Just fuck off. But it takes time to be able to build that relationship with them if they want you to. And there are all different types of land spirits out there, okay? So, Mountain Conjure and Southern Root Work by Orrin Foxwood, forwarded by Matthew R., the author of Psychic Witch. The forwarder was. I love this book. I love everything about this book, and specifically from a lens through Conjure, this book. So if you're more towards the conjure aspect, this is the book you're going to want to get, all right? And then the second one, I love this book. This book taught me things that I did not even know with most houseplants and other things that we have growing around us and or that you can find either in your house or an in-law's house. And out of all the books that I just showed you, not a lot of them go over what you can do with these herbs, okay? And that is by Star Casa, Hoodoo Herbal, Folk Recipes for Conjure and Spell Work with herbs, houseplants, roots, and oils. Now, I finished this book and read this book during when my partner was going through chemo, and there were so many moments where I wanted to, I got so excited about the things that I was learning, where, like, I had to contain myself because the treatment center he went to, it's not like in the movies where, like, it's like you're in your own little room. No, it was all open source floor. So I had to contain myself a lot, and this actually sparked a conversation between me and a nurse that was helping my partner about witchy things. But this book is absolutely amazing in so many aspects. It literally goes over them. And in this book, they have herbs that are called hot or cold. It's absolutely amazing. Now, there are parts of the Bible in here because to activate them and to properly do the workings, you have to recant prayers or state the prayers. But hands down, an amazing book. Okay. And again, the reason that I was so excited when I learned about conjure and hoodoo, again, there are certain aspects of hoodoo. There are also multiple different dialogues and spellings of hoodoo. So depending on the spelling is depending on what type of aspect or flavor the hoodoo is. Um, but the way that they use their herbs, and I was like, why is this not in any other book? Because, like, I have right over here Scott Cunningham's herbal thing, right? Most of those plants are European, or not European. Yeah, I think European. I'm not a geologist, right? This and the other folk practices books actually teach you about the plants that we all have here. I'm not saying that they're all, I'm second guessing myself again. And I'm not cutting that out. You're seeing it real style, all right? They're amazing, though. And like I said, a lot of these plants, you're either going to have your plant best friend is going to have, your in-law, your mom, all these other things, okay? They're going to have them, and you can use them to do so many things. And especially, remember, when it comes to folk practices, they do not go around wearing all these symbols, as in it's not a requirement. In most folk practices, so let's say in Appalachia, they did not consider what they were doing witchcraft, okay? Which means you literally could look like a normal fucking person and have witchcraft all over you, okay? So if you were in the broom closet, some of these books and the things that you can do in these books, they're literally just, okay, well, you have, what was it? Snake's plant, also known as, I think, the stepmother's tongue. You can literally have one right outside your door, and that's to help cut through the gossip and protection. Nobody ever told me that. Out of all the other wiki books, nothing. So seriously, I hope this helps. I'm planning on doing a couple of more because in the process, the other conjure books that I did on, I forgot that I had way more of them. So yeah, let me know if you've read these. What was your favorite ones? What are other books in these subjects that you've also read and just loved? So let me know.